She ignored me at Ben and Tasha's cookout like I was a coat on a chair. She planted herself next to Mike, her old friend from the gym, and didn't move for 3 hours. I watched them trade stories, laugh at nothing, and tilt their heads close to hear each other over the music. When I drifted over, she did the quick pivot that people do when they don't want a conversation interrupted. "Hey," I tried, steady. "You good?" "We're catching up," she tossed back without looking. "You can mingle. You know everyone." On the ride home, she scrolled through her phone, thumb working like she had a deadline. I kept my eyes on the road. "So, that was a lot of catching up." "Don't start," she murmured. "Not starting. Asking." "We hadn't talked in months," she said. "Please don't be weird. He's just Mike." "Then why'd I feel like a third wheel at my friend's place?" She slid the phone into her purse. "Because you're reading into it. Or because I wasn't in the conversation." "You're jealous," she decided. "It's not a good look." "Respect is a good look," I answered. "I didn't see much of it from you tonight." She turned to the window. "Can we not do this? I'm tired." If I'd known where that night was headed, I would have saved us months. But I still believed in patience and giving people chances. "That's on me." We hit our block. She was already texting again as we parked. I didn't ask who. Breakfast the next morning, I scrambled eggs and set the mugs out. She floated through the kitchen with the energy of someone who had a better appointment in an hour. "You want coffee?" I asked. "I'm meeting Mike at the park," she said, flipping through her mail. "He's training for a 10K. I told him I'd time his sprints." "You scheduled this yesterday?" I kept my tone flat. It came up. She tucked a strand of hair back. "Why are you staring?" "Because we had plans to take your mom to the flea market." "She can go with us after," she said. "This is 20 minutes. It's never 20 minutes. Don't be dramatic." I plated her eggs. "Then I'll take your mom myself. You do your sprints." She blinked, surprised that I didn't press. "Fine." At the market, her mom picked through old picture frames. "Everything all right with you too?" she asked, not looking at me. "We're fine," I answered, doing some calendar adjustments. "I thought you were going with her," she said. I adjusted, I said, and bought the frame she kept coming back to. On the drive back, I called our contractor to reschedule the patio consult that afternoon, something we'd planned together. No sense pretending we were a team for a project when the team captain had a different field in mind. By the time we got home, she was on the porch with a sports drink, all smiles. "We're doing a group thing Friday," she said, tossing me a towel. "Trivia at the Silver Tap. Mike's in. You should come." "I'm not signing up for evenings where you act single," I replied, wiping my hands. "If you want couples events, be a couple." She rolled her eyes. "Mike's harmless." "Then this is easy," I said. "Here's my rule. If you go somewhere with me, we sit together. If you go somewhere with him, I won't meet you there. I won't float." "You're making rules now?" "Yep. Clarity is charity." She smirked like I'd told a dad joke. "You'll get over this." I made another adjustment that afternoon, separate calendars on the fridge. Mine listed work hours, gym, shop time in my garage, dinner with my brother Evan on Thursdays. Hers was blank. I left a note at the top. "If it's important to us, it goes here. If it's not here, assume I won't be there." She stopped at the board and stared. "You're serious?" "I'm done guessing," I said, taking my keys. "I'll be at the shop until 7. Don't schedule me with Mike." She grabbed her purse. "Don't be rude. He might swing by later. I told him about your smoker. He loves barbecue." I leaned on the doorway. "Let me be absolutely clear. My house isn't a hangout for your friend. If I'm not home, he's not here. If I am home, you ask first." "You're overreacting. I'm drawing a line. You can decide if you respect it." She left with a scoff that said she heard me and filed it under optional. That's what told me this wasn't a blip. She'd already made room for him in her schedule. Now she was testing how much room she could make in mine. That evening, my neighbor Erica caught me loading wood into the smoker. She leaned on the fence. "Saw your wife buzzing around with that guy at Ben's. What's the deal?" "Old friend," I said. "Uh-huh. You look like a guest at your own party." "Working on that," I told her. "Good. You don't do background." I didn't intend to. But the difference between intention and action is always a boundary with teeth. Mine was late, but it was coming. Work on Monday, warehouse office, buzzing forklifts outside, stale coffee inside. Luis, my foreman, thumbed through the shipping logs while I checked a quote on my laptop. You look like you slept at the plant, he said. Weekend ran long, I answered, rebalancing the personal division. That the wife thing? I gave him a look. He grinned. Not prying. Just saying, the guys liked her before. Now they're asking why she's always with that runner dude from the gym. That runner dude is named Mike, I said, keeping it dry. Then Mike should get a stopwatch and a map and stop standing next to your wife, Luis replied. But what do I know? I'm just a forklift poet. I laughed once. Then I did what I came to do. I adjusted my schedule at work to pick up late shifts on Wednesdays and Fridays. If she wanted to turn those nights into social time with her friend, I wasn't going to sit home and wait for updates. I posted the new hours on the fridge calendar that evening. Weds/Friday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Message sent. My time had value. I wasn't going to keep it on the shelf for free. She skimmed the calendar, lips tight. So now you're never home. I'll be home when there's a reason to be home, I told her. Create one. That's when she tried her first soft turn. The next day, she showed up at the plant with takeout. Luis's eyebrows climbed so high they almost left his forehead. I brought your favorite, she announced, popping the lid of the container like a magic trick. I wanted to make up for Friday. I was off. Luis slid out slow. I'll give you to the office. She set the food down. I don't want us to keep missing each other. I'll tell Mike to cool it. What does cool it mean? I asked. I'll see him less, she said. You matter more. That's not a sentence. That's a slogan, I replied. If you're serious, this is simple. If we have plans, you don't bring him into them. If you go out with him, I'm not sitting in the corner smiling. You're making me feel controlled. I'm making you choose the kind of relationship you want, I said. Pick one. She touched my arm. I pick you. I watched her for a beat. Good. Then we won't have the same problem Friday. She nodded. Friday we'll do a movie. Just us. She left, and Luis reappeared like he'd been under the desk. So that looked promising, he said. We'll see, I answered. I like actions. Friday night at 6, she texted, running late. Mike and I grabbed a smoothie after the gym. Be home soon. I replied, enjoy the smoothie. Movie's off. What? Don't be petty. Not being anything. I'm following the rule. We had a plan. You broke it. Mike's just. Stop writing his name like it's a hall pass, I typed. We'll try a plan when you treat it like one. She came home at 8 with that breezy apology tone. It just ran long. You know how conversations get. Yeah, I said, putting my boots on. They get long when neither person wants them to end. She stepped in front of me. Where are you going? Trivia night, I answered. With who? Luis and the guys. They want to see if I can spell. She hesitated. We'll come with. I held her eyes. We. Me and Mike. He loves trivia. I'm not bringing him to my table, I said, steady. If you show up, sit with me. If you sit with him, I'm gone. You're trying to make some point. I'm reminding you who your husband is. She showed up 20 minutes later. Mike was behind her, hands in his pockets, wearing that relaxed grin that men wear when they think they've won the room before they enter it. Luis whistled under his breath. That him? That's him, I said. She walked over with Mike trailing. We're here, she chirped. Luis tipped an imaginary hat. Welcome. I pointed at the empty chair beside me. Seats here. She glanced at Mike, then at me. We promised him we'd sit with his team, she said. It's just 2 tables over. We can bounce. You came with me, I said. You sit here or you sit there. I'm not bouncing. Her smile thinned. Don't make this weird. I stood calm. Already weird, I told her. Enjoy your night. I took my coat, nodded to Luis, and left. He caught up on the sidewalk. You sure? I'm done sharing my time, I replied. I gave the rule. She tested it. You want me to stick around? I'm good, I said. Go back in. Win something. I drove to my brother Evan's place. He opened the door in socks and a t-shirt, holding a slice of pizza. You look like you need terrible television, he said. I need a room where my name isn't a punchline, I answered, and took the beer he offered without sitting yet. My phone buzzed. Her text, you walked out? That's childish. I typed back. I'm not a prop. New policy. I don't attend events where I'm treated like one. Then I put my phone face down and watched bad cop shows with Evan until midnight. At 1 a.m., she sent a happier text. Home. We should talk in the morning. I get your point. That was the first illusion of change. She didn't get my point. She got that I finally had won. Her birthday came 2 weeks later. I took the day off, ordered catering from a neighbor who does it for side cash, and invited our circle. Our living room filled with people we'd known for years, work friends, neighbors, Evan and his wife, my mechanic buddy Nate, and Erica from over the fence. I put music on, kept it low, and handled the door. At 7, she came down in a red dress and that wide, staged smile. She walked through the room, hugged people, and parked herself next to Mike, who'd shown up with a bottle of cheap wine like he'd been invited to close the sale. Nate leaned into me near the kitchen. "You sure this is your party?" he asked, voice low. "Working on it," I answered. When I stepped to her side with a small box, bracelet I'd picked because she'd liked it in a window last month, she barely turned. "Hold on," she told me, laughing at something Mike whispered. "It's for you," I said. I didn't push it into her hands. I held it so she could decide to take it. She waved vaguely. Later, Mike's eyes flicked to the box, then to me. He smiled that harmless smile. I stared back without smiling. Erica drifted over. "Let me steal the birthday girl for a picture," she said, grabbing my wife's elbow and moving her 3 feet away. Then she hissed in her ear, not even subtle. "What are you doing? Your husband's standing right there." "I'm fine," my wife answered, tone light. "We're all friends." Erica glanced at me. I shrugged. Nate took a step closer. "Man," Nate muttered. "I say this with love. She replaced you in the scene. That's not normal." "I hear you," I said. 10 minutes later, she clinked a glass for a speech and thanked everyone for coming. She thanked me for all the logistics and then thanked Mike for being there for me this year. The room did that awkward shuffle people do when they sense a line being crossed. I saw Evan put his drink down like it had suddenly gotten heavy. I didn't make a scene. I put the bracelet box back in my pocket and stepped into the hallway. I texted her, "Stop mentioning him like he's family. He's not." She didn't respond. She laughed at one of his lines loud enough to carry into the hall. Nate found me by the laundry room. "You're too calm," he said. "It's a choice," I answered. "Make a different one," he said. "You deserve better than being a background character at your own house." 2 other things happened at that party. First, my friend Tasha cornered me on the patio. "He keeps acting like a host," she said, eyes flat. "He opened my wine for me. In your kitchen. He's comfortable," I said. "You shouldn't let him be," she replied. Second, my wife made a joke about somebody's grill skills and then looked at me when she said burnt. Half the room glanced at me to see if I'd take it. I didn't flinch. I leaned against the island and checked the time on the microwave like I was timing a roast. At 10, people began drifting out. She stayed in the pocket next to Mike, head bowed close to his. When the last guest left, I stacked paper plates and wiped the counter. She walked in like it was the first time she'd been in the kitchen all night. "Don't be mad," she began. "It was a party. People mingle." "You didn't mingle," I said. "You camped. You're overanalyzing. It's my birthday. He's my friend." "Good. He can be your friend outside my house," I said. New rule. Effective now. When I host, I set the list. If he's on it, I'm off it. I don't throw parties where I'm an extra. "You're punishing me." "I'm not punishing," I said, stacking cups. "I'm reallocating. There's a difference." She laughed like I was a child. "You're not going to tell me who I can invite." "You can invite anyone you want," I replied. "And I can decline to stand in my own home looking like a missed connection." "That's ridiculous," she said, but there was a flinch in it. Not fear, calculation. She realized my ground was finally solid. That night, I lay awake and watched the ceiling fan click. The soft turn at my job, the apology texts, the performance at the party. It was a pattern, not a mistake. The goal wasn't connection. It was transition. She was building a bridge from our life to a new one and using my house as lumber. I made a call the next morning to a guy named Carter, a private investigator who shared a basketball court with me years ago. We were not close friends. That was perfect. "What's the ask?" he said. "I want to know how my wife spends her weekdays when I'm at work," I answered. "That's broad," he said. "She's always with one person in particular. Mike. They do lunches. They do parks. I need timestamps and context. Not paranoia. Facts." He paused. "You sure you want facts?" "More than I want stories," I said. "All right," he said. "Give me a week." I didn't tell anyone. Not Evan. Not Nate. Not Erica over the fence. I didn't tell my wife. I just lived my week with quiet, boring discipline. I went to work, I lifted at the gym, I ate the meals I packed, and I didn't chase. 2 days in, she tried the second soft turn. She made dinner. Actual dinner, not a poured salad. She put out real plates. She even lit a candle, suburban romance by default. I want us back, she said. I know I've been distracted. What changed? I asked. I don't like how distant we feel, she said. You're always gone. I miss you. I posted my schedule. I reminded her. You've missed me on purpose. I'm trying now, she insisted. Then hear me. I said. No more comparing me to him. No more bringing him into our plans. No more surprises in my house. She reached across the table. Deal. I watched her hand. Then I ate the food she made. It was decent. We watched a movie. She curled up like nothing had happened. If I'd been the man I was 6 months earlier, I might have swallowed that as a change of heart. But I'm not that man. I'm the man who had already hired Carter. Friday afternoon, Carter called. I've got a package, he said. Bring it, I answered. We met in the parking lot by the hardware store. He handed me a plain envelope and a look he doesn't give people unless he's about to say something you won't like. I'm not going to narrate, he said. You're a smart guy. In my truck, I opened it. Printed timestamps. Photos. Lunch at a downtown cafe at noon on Wednesday. Her head against Mike's shoulder on a bench by the river. Their car parked at his townhouse Thursday at 2, out at 5. A picture of them in the grocery store with one basket, not two. His hand on her back. It wasn't scandal. It wasn't shock TV. It was something worse, a domestic rhythm that erased me. I sat a long minute without speaking to anyone. Then I started making calls. I called a family attorney I knew through Evan. We met the next morning. I showed him the file. He skimmed, grim-faced, professional. You want to move forward? He asked. I want a clean exit, I said. No drama. I own the house, titles in my name from before. She can take what's hers. I'm not fighting over forks. We can keep this civilized, he said. I'll draft. Do that, I told him. And move. He nodded. He'd seen men come through mad, crying, drunk. I was none of those. I was done. I left his office on a Tuesday. The sky was that color that makes you think nothing important can happen today. I got in my truck and my phone buzzed. Her text, don't wait up. I'm at a party at Mike's. Sorry, but he didn't want me bringing you today. That line belongs in a museum of disrespect. I stared at it for a full 10 seconds, not to feel anything, but to record the exact words. Then I drove home and packed. I didn't pack my things. I packed hers. I pulled the zipper on 3 suitcases and filled them with the items I knew she actually used. Clothes, shoes, bathroom bag, the small stack of books by her nightstand. I took the framed photos that were of her alone, not us. I left the ones of us on the shelf. That wasn't for her anymore, and it wasn't for me. It was for the past, and the past can sit quietly. I loaded the suitcases into the bed of my truck. I put the smaller stuff in boxes. I didn't fold a note. I didn't leave a lecture. I didn't call to warn or ask. I drove to Mike's townhouse. A guy in a hoodie was on the stoop with a pizza box. He stepped aside. Delivery, he joked. Kind of. I answered, and stacked the suitcases by the door, rung the bell, set the boxes down, and then put her gym bag on top like a bow. A woman from across the street called out, "Need a hand?" She must have been a neighbor. She looked curious, not helpful. I've got it, I said. I took one photo of the luggage by the door, not for social media, not for spite, just for the record. Then I got in my truck and drove home. 3 hours later, my phone lit up like a switchboard. Calls. Texts. What did you do? She wrote. Where are my things? Are you serious? Answer me. I let it run until she finally typed. I'm freaking out. I responded with one message. Don't worry. Mike will never see us together again. She called immediately. I let it ring. She called again. I blocked the number. I changed the front door lock. I texted Evan. If she shows up, call me. Don't open. He replied. You good? I'm better than I've been in months, I wrote back. I slept. Morning. No knocks, no drama. I poured coffee and watched the fence line. Erica leaned over it later, eyes sharp. Heard a truck late, she said, fishing for a story. I returned some property, I said. She studied me. You look lighter. Decisions do that. At noon, my attorney called. Paperwork's ready when you are, he said. We can have a courier deliver her packet. It should be straightforward. Do it, I replied. I worked. I lifted. I ate what I cooked. The call stopped because they couldn't get through. She didn't try the door because the lock didn't recognize her. That was a kindness to both of us. Days turned into weeks. I wasn't waiting. I wasn't watching. I wasn't triangulating where she was. I did what grown men do when a chapter ends. I started the next one with better margins. Evan and I rebuilt the shelves in the garage. I sold the old couch and bought nothing for a while. Just used a chair and a table. It was cleaner that way. Luis dragged me to a Saturday softball league. I said yes. I went home sore and satisfied, not twisted up about someone else's schedule. From the attorney, I saw emails. Her responses went through a polite cycle: surprise, indignation, then negotiation. We can talk, she wrote through her rep. We can meet. I answered none of it personally. I didn't attend a showdown. I sent signatures when asked. I returned what was clearly hers. I didn't fight over the blender or a painting. I moved 3 boxes to the porch on a Sunday and texted the courier, not her. Erica handed me a beer over the fence. You ever going to tell me the story? She asked. Nope, I said, but I'll tell you the lesson. Which is, if respect isn't the price of admission, it should be the reason to close the doors, I said. Put that on a t-shirt, she snorted. It'd sell. A month after the luggage delivery, Nate spotted her at the grocery store. He texted me without preamble. She's with him. I didn't reply. He followed with, you're doing the right thing. I still didn't reply. He meant well. I wasn't interested in play-by-plays. A few months later, I heard it through the grapevine. The kind of grapevine you don't ask to be part of, but can't avoid when you've got neighbors. Mike had moved on. She was living with her parents out in the suburbs you go to when you need to be somewhere quiet while you figure out what's next. I didn't celebrate. I didn't sneer. I didn't care. That wasn't nobility. That was detachment, finally earned, paid for with clear steps and finished papers. Life without chaos is film without noise. The sound that remained after she left was my own voice again. I used it. I took a promotion at the plant, a role I had turned down once because it demanded travel. Now I wanted the travel. Short hops, nothing dramatic. I picked up a used pickup in good shape and tuned it myself on weekends. Evan and I did a fishing trip we'd promised each other for a decade. I reconnected with an old friend, Dana, who runs a small design studio. We started with coffee and didn't hurry anything. She has her own calendar and her own friends and never makes me stand in a room wondering where I fit. That's the bar. Sometimes people ask if I miss my ex-wife. I miss the idea of the life we pretended to have. The reality of it can stay in the boxes I left on Mike's stoop. The last time I heard her name was in a group message about a charity 5K. Someone said she was volunteering at the water station. Good for her. I wish her enough. Not more. Enough. As for me, I've got a quiet house that opens when I come home and closes when I lock it. I've got a garage that smells like cut wood and machine oil. I've got friends who don't need me as a prop to enjoy an evening. And I've got a line I carry with me that saves me from the version of myself who used to hand out endless chances. I don't chase attention. I require respect. The night I put her bags on Mike's porch, I thought that line and then I acted on it. I didn't need to yell. I didn't need to list every offense. I didn't need to compete with a man who thought my house was a lounge. I just chose something she couldn't spin or talk around. The door closed. People think power is noisy. It isn't. It's a key, a new lock, and a complete sentence.